2014 really was a rich year for the Yu-Gi-Oh! Trading card game. And although we have briefly covered what the modern Time Wizard events for 2014 look like, they focus on the first half of the year. And I gotta say, the second half is arguably even richer, as two of the most iconic archetypes of all time have been released in Duelist Alliance, and that is Shaddoll and Burning Abyss.
Yeah, I remember ourselves testing and playing those decks, and especially I remember, when Burning Abyss was released, with Tour Guy from the Underworld, you could special summon from your deck Graf Malebranche of the Burning Abyss, going into Dante, Traveler of the Burning Abyss, and then basically if you also had another Burning Abyss in your hand, you could start things off with 2 Dantes on the field, which was unbelievable. And it's great to have these cards in front of us, and I can't really wait to play with those again. And I think on the other side, you also have very good memories with not only Burning Abyss, but also with Shaddoll.
Yeah, absolutely. I gotta say I do. If on the one hand, Burning Abyss probably is one of the most resilient decks of all time. I remember that for so many years in a row, you would face off against different iterations of the deck. It could literally do it all, from being a combo deck to being almost a trap-heavy deck. It really shined. On the other hand, yes, my bias was with Shaddoll. When I read Shaddoll Fusion, I just remember I couldn't believe it. It was the first time ever that really we could easily use some materials from the deck. And by being a player that has always considered itself more of a deck builder, I think, than a technical player, my mind just exploded. I mean, the thing I love about Yu-Gi-Oh! Is that obviously you can play with cards that have been released 20 years ago. And in that moment, once you take a look at what are nowadays some alternate art version of El Shaddoll Construct and El Shaddoll Winda, any light or dark monster was available to you. Like, you could literally just, go through all of the boxes of cards I still have, under my bed in my room, and just take a look at them, try to think if there was some insane synergy that you could do, as essentially any effect in the graveyard became suddenly relevant. So cards such as line mode monsters, just suddenly became valid. You could just play a one-off and then easily access it and really get out there. But as you have mentioned, 2014 was a special year for me. I started traveling and playing the game even more competitively around, and there was a little bit of a curse on us Italian players, because we have been doing really well, but for something like 4 or 5 YCSs in a row, we would all the time lose in the finals until I gotta say YCS London happened. It's almost exactly 10 years ago, because it was 26th of October 2014. I remember the date for a reason, because after the Swiss rounds I wasn't quite sure if I would make it. My score was good, but not guaranteed. And then I sneaked in at 32nd, facing off against the undefeated player, which was the winner of the previous YCS London as well, Patrick Reeder. And in the end, I was able to defeat him and take the event by storm, being renamed, the luckiest man in London for a reason. But that really changed my entire history of the game, and it remains one of my favorite memories. Just walking out of the curtains, because back in the day you didn't play, in front of the crowd, and just being hugged by all of my friends. What an experience it was, and I'm glad that all of you guys can enjoy these cards, either adapting them into your 2025 decks or just enjoying 2014 Time Wizard events for what is some amazing Quarter Century secret rares available now for the first time in Quarter Century Stampede.